So the proposed $15 minimum wage hike that's supposed to be in the, well, that is looking to be in the COVID relief bill is not the only thing that centrist Democrats are opposing. They're also opposing pushing back, and they're pushing back against a federal unemployment benefits that was at $400 a week, and they're pushing that down to $300. So because of that, they're looking to make a deal within the caucus and Democrats. So the Hill reports that Senate Democrats are nearing an agreement within their caucuses to reduce the boost in federal unemployment benefits in the COVID-19 relief bill to $300 from the $400 included in the House bill that was just passed. So also the contours of the emerging deal call for keeping the weekly unemployment benefit at $300, but extending it to October 4th. To avoid the so-called August cliff. That's according to the Senate Democratic aide that was briefed on the matter. So there's this is just part of the negotiations that they're having within Democrats on whether or not what they're going to give these centrist Democrats that are against keeping the unemployment benefits, federal unemployment benefits at $400 and are taken down to $300. So they'll extend it first. Also, in a concession to liberals, the deal would also make up to $10,200 in unemployment compensation exempt from taxes. The tax breaks would apply to the benefits received in 2020. So just a little bit details on that aspect. Many people who received unemployment benefits during 2020 are finding out as they're filing taxes now that they either owe or that their returns aren't as high as they were expecting, and that's because they were taxed on those unemployment benefits. So this one concession to progressives is that they'll allow $10,200 worth of those taxes to not be taxed. I mean, of those benefits to not be taxed, so they can get a little bit back. And if you've already filed, apparently that will be allowed to be added on in some kind of way. We'll see how that works out. So also, more from the Hill. A number of centrist Democrats have been seen as worried about the cost of the legislation. This is the reasons why they're upset. And the jobless benefits have been a big part of contention for them. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell railed against Biden's proposed $400 per week unemployment benefit Friday morning. He was quoted as saying, "By one analysis, the Democrats' extra cash bonus for laid off workers who stay home will result in more than 60% of workers earning more money by staying home than they'd earned from returning to work," is what he said on the Senate floor. "This isn't state unemployment insurance. It's borrowing from our kids and grandkids to pay yet an additional cash bonus for not working and being lazy and hating Americans." Okay, so the last aspect of this is where the kicker I think comes in for me, because centrist Democrats are now agreeing with Mitch McConnell on this point. One more quote: "I was concerned about not making it so high that people wouldn't want to go back to work." That's what Senator Angus King of Maine said. He's an independent who also caucuses with Democrats. So he's concerned about how much people may be getting from unemployment benefits, and they may not want to go back to work because Americans don't like to work. I've said it so many times. I'm not sure how America can be the strongest in the world, yet the weakest, the richest, yet the poorest, and the citizens are the most strong, hardworking American people. But then at the same time, we're lazy and don't want to go to work, and all we're gonna do is sit around and take money and suck off of the government. It's a continuous process of building up Americans and then shooting Americans down when they're supposed to get the benefits that make us so great that we brag about to other countries. So anyways, I just had to get that part because it always frustrates me. So these are the deals that are being made. Is this a good compromise, you guys?
No, of course not. So first, on the politics of it, nobody punches themselves in the face better than a Democrat does. So you're going to do, the original plan was let's do COVID relief, and plus let's raise 32 million people's wages. It's both parts of the bill were incredibly popular with every brand of voter. And if Joe Biden wanted to do a bill that was based on unity, as he pledged in his campaign, this would have been perfect. It would have hit his campaign promises, the $2,000 checks, the minimum wage, just perfect. So the Democrats are like, well, how do we screw this up? Because we don't want to win. We want to look like idiots and then paint the Republicans as smart and as strategic so that people will vote against us next time. So we'll have an argument over whether it's really $2,000 or not. We'll completely kill the $15 minimum wage, and we'll help the Republicans kill it, and it'll be very public the way that we do it. So everybody's not confused. It's the Democrats who killed the minimum wage. They weren't telling the truth the whole time. And now on top of that, we'll say, you know what? At the last second, we decided we're gonna try to give you even less benefits than we originally promised because you guys like this bill too much. So we're going to try to ruin it. Now let's figure out why they're trying to ruin it and the possible reaction. I'm going to save the possible reaction till later. But wait a minute. One of them said it was because it was costly, but later you find out when you read into it, it actually, the way that they're structuring it, because you don't have to pay taxes on your unemployment benefits, it actually might cost the government more, and it might be good for you guys overall. For the ones who do get it, you might come out a little bit ahead, although it doesn't look that way, and it depends on which bracket you're in. So it affects different people differently, but it costs more money for the government. So that thing you said about the deficit is just not true. So I don't know why you bothered to give a talking point like that, unless you think the media is miserable failures or won't notice the contradiction in what you said. Oh, never mind, I know why you said it. Okay, so and then the second part of it is you got to be thinking, wait, if it costs more, but it looks really bad, why are they doing it? I'll tell you why they're doing it. Because letting you not pay taxes on the unemployment benefits that you get does not hurt corporations at all. They're totally okay with that. But if the corporate world, in the form of the Chamber of Commerce, is telling those conservative Democrats and all the Republicans, we think our workers are lazy bums, the American workers are bums, and they're not coming back to work because you guys are paying them too much unemployment. Remember, the federal minimum wage is $7.25. We're out here crushing them. They're only getting $15,000 for a full year of work, no days off. So since we kept our wages so low, if you even give them a tiny sliver of money, it'll be more than what we're paying them. So make sure the unemployment benefits are low. That's what explains them trying to cut unemployment benefits, but adding to the deficit at the same time, because their corporate overlords told them, heal, get in line, okay? And then in terms of the lazy point, I just want to make a quick point on that. They keep saying people will not go back to work because if we pay them too much unemployment, ignoring the fact that they were all fired. It's not like they're like, you know what? 12 million people, we'll just walk off the job now. No, you fired them all. They're not lazy, they're fired. And that's why the media drives me crazy. They've repeated that talking point in a million articles so far, as if it has any kind of legitimacy. If you're a real reporter, you'd ask that politician, whether they're Republican or a Democrat, hey, wait, weren't all these people fired originally? So why are you impugning their motives and their intent with your talking point about how they might not go back to work?
There's such a great point, Cenk, and I sort of wonder if maybe the Republicans and even Manchin, they know better. They know that, and Jayar, to your point, I think people know that Americans are the most productive workers on the planet and that people do want to get back to work, but this is simply an excuse that the centrist Democrats and some of the Republicans have. And there are two things about Manchin of the last day that just strike me as so puzzling. First, just in terms of the logistics, let's just suppose, for argument's sake, okay, if we were to allow Manchin's way and the unemployment benefits have to be renewed in July, heading into the August cliff. Well, guess who's not working in July and August? That's right, Congress. So you actually increase the chances that this doesn't get done in the summertime and that you do have a lapse of unemployment benefits next summer. That's the benefit of having this go all the way to October. So for Manchin not to understand that is just sort of puzzling. The other thing is, Cenk, to your point about sort of the media, I've been wondering, have any members of the media asked either Jen Psaki or anybody at the White House, what carrot and sticks have you played with Kirsten Sinema, with Joe Manchin? Have you given Manchin any incentives and said, look, if you support the minimum wage, if you see things our way, unemployment benefits, this is what we will give West Virginia? Or conversely, has there been any conversation where Biden has said, look, Joe, you either come along with me or we're taking that military base out of your state, you're not gonna get the next round, I will make you pay in the way that LBJ made Democrats who crossed him. Has there been any conversation like that? Because it feels like Joe Manchin hasn't heard anything. He's not gotten any incentives to go along with Democrats. He's not gotten any fear. And as a result, for whatever sort of power reason, he actually realizes that he will do better as a small business owner if he doesn't have to raise the wages in the short term, even though in the long term it might benefit him, that he's just figuring, I'm the most powerful person in Washington and now I'm gonna exercise my power not only by killing the minimum wage, I fooled them, now I'm not gonna really torpedo a $2 trillion package because of the minimum wage. Has anybody actually felt that he's really gonna do that? But he thinks, okay, they're afraid of me. So now he's going to use his fear for his own ego, and he's going to be like a wrecking ball for everything that the Democrats try to put forward that might actually be something they've campaigned on, that is aspirational for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I've got to jump in on a couple of those points because they're so good. So number one, in terms of the media asking questions, here's another simple one that I asked online today. Okay, so Joe Biden and his allies in the Senate helped to kill the minimum wage increase. They claim they're for it. Very simple question. So what is your plan for passing the $15 minimum wage? You say you're for it, but you aided and abetted killing it now. So if you're not completely lying, you would have a backup plan for passing it. What is it? If they ask Jen Psaki that, she's done. It's going to be nothing but evasion. I mean, if we had real journalists, somebody would ask that question, and then the next person would follow up, and the next person would follow up, and they wouldn't let her off the hook. What's your plan for passing minimum wage? Oh, you don't have one because you never actually wanted to pass it. Okay. Now, in terms of, but there are some good journalists, no question. So Jeff Stein from the Washington Post asked an interesting question. He said, okay, if this is going to happen, will any of the progressives in the Senate do anything about it? And that's a tough question for Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and the others. And you know what the answer is? No, they won't do anything about it. That's why, as David points out, Manchin keeps bluffing because Biden won't do anything about it. Progressive senators won't do anything about it. The House won't do anything about it. So he's like, well, I guess I'm president. So I will dictate what is in every single bill because nobody's stopping me. And that is political reality. Now, we're not like the others. We will criticize our own because it isn't about personalities. It isn't about ego. It's about policy. So in fact, Van Jones just gave us credit on CNN for pressuring Bernie Sanders. That happened while we were live on the air here. And he's right, we did pressure Bernie Sanders. Any Democratic senator can block this bill. Manchin blocks it willy-nilly. I want this, I want that, otherwise I'm gonna vote no. Nobody ever calls his bluff. David's right, of course he's not gonna vote no. He's not gonna vote no on COVID relief. There is no voting no, it's a must-pass bill. If Bernie or Warren or the progressives in the House block it, all it does is it forces everyone back into renegotiating it, but this time we're at the table. But so far, if we're being honest, no one has mustered up the courage to say, no, Joe, you're not gonna get everything you want in the bill. If you're threatening to block it, I'll threaten to block it. And I call it the Manchin rule, and it's so easy. That's why it's so frustrating that none of the progressives in Congress will do it. If he votes no, I vote no. He votes yes, I vote yes. It's not on me, go ask Manchin. How easy is that? How easy is that? Oh, no, but the press is gonna blame me if I say I know the press is gonna blame you, the press sucks. But look, at some point, you gotta gather up the courage to go, yeah, all right, I'll take that hit because it's the right thing to do. Otherwise, progressives aren't gonna have any power. Look at the corporate Democrats. Angus King, yeah, theoretically he's an independent, but as Jayar explained, he caucuses with the Democrats. Angus King's quote was almost identical to Mitch McConnell's quote. Same with Tom Carper, who again is one of Joe Biden's top allies in the Senate from the state of Delaware. You can't tell Tom Carper apart from Mitch McConnell, okay? So if you're a progressive, you cannot sit around protecting the feelings of Tom Carper. You've got to be honest, not just about Republicans, but about your own Democratic colleagues. They're the ones blocking any kind of real reform and real relief here. Yes, with their partners in the Republican Party, but you've got to clarify that if you don't do it, certainly the press isn't going to do it.
Yeah, whenever they piggyback on it and allow people like Mitch McConnell's point to live through Angus King's statements, it's also an indictment of the other aspect of this. There's the $15 minimum wage, and then there's also this with the unemployment, and where this has always been. Even before COVID, the discussions about unemployment benefits or any of this type of stuff is always that, hey, people are going to want to sit at home and keep collecting this, and so we can't give them more than $5, right? So if you put forward that someone on unemployment benefits, $300 a week or $400 a month, I'm sorry, $400 is going to give them so much more money than they would if they were working. That's an indictment on how much they're making when they're working. Goes right back to the $15 minimum wage problem. So if people can sit at home and make more money than they go and work full time, don't you think that's a problem with how much they're getting paid working full time? It's a circular fire against anything being progressed. We don't want to pay you anything more. We're not going to force businesses to pay you anymore. So therefore, even in a situation where it's a pandemic or just any other kind of layoff, and you're collecting unemployment benefits of your money, then you're going to make more than you would have been out there working. Well, maybe we shouldn't be making so little out there working, because then people are struggling, can't eat, can't survive, can't pay their bills. So again, that's another point that needs to be brought up. And also, they keep saying we should move things like the $15 minimum wage, all these things to a separate standalone bill. I'm waiting for that first question. Maybe it's been asked and I wasn't listening to the press conference. The first question then being, so you want that to go to a standalone bill? Are you going to vote for it there? Because the answer is still no, but they don't want to say that. It's just the way it works. Just keep pushing it to the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah, one super last thing, guys. Look, the pressure works, whether it's put on by progressives in Congress or it's put on by you guys. So the reason Van Jones gave us credit, and now actually a good deal of folks in the media are, is because it's true. And it wasn't me, it wasn't Jayar or David, it was you guys. If you had not done the tweets to get it, the hashtag to trend, the media wouldn't have noticed it. If you hadn't signed the petition, over 10,000 of you signed the "Don't Kill It Bernie" petition, it would not have gotten noticed. And so you guys created the pressure. What was the result of that? We got the Democrats on the record. We now know who those 8 senators are that were killing the bill behind the scenes and not admitting it. You did that. That's amazing. So look, we didn't win today, but actions like that eventually lead to victories, because these are the steps you need to take to actually pass the bill. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for participating in that. You guys did the videos where you pleaded with Bernie, please don't kill it. It totally worked. We need to do that on as many campaigns as we can. And today we launched the next one. So tyt.com/petitions/the-hateful-8. Okay, the way that Kristen Sinema rubbed it in our face as she voted no and sent cake in a Marie Antoinette moment, the way Manchin is constantly insulting us, all of them, right? And instantly it's over 1,000 people that signed. We just started it earlier in this show. So keep it going, let's put the pressure on. And what that says is, I'm not giving it any money, I'm not volunteering for it, and I'm not voting for any Democrat or Republican that votes against $15 minimum wage. It's the least they can do. And so if they don't do that, they don't deserve anything from us.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.